Football, America's favorite sport. Every weekend, millions of Americans gather around to watch the spectacle that is football. From Pee Wee to the NFL, millions of athletes engage in thousands of football games every year. But with the violent nature of the sport comes inherent risks. One of those risks is a concussion. But what exactly is a concussion? Although there is no universal agreement on the standard definition of a concussion, the following is a definition that has been endorsed by a variety of medical associations. Concussion is a clinical syndrome characterized by immediate and transient impairment of neural functions, such as alterations of consciousness, disturbance of vision, equilibrium, etc., due to mechanical forces. Now that we know what a concussion is, why are they dangerous?
Probably the danger lies in I think the best term is insidious, is because each athlete will have different signs and symptoms presented to you. Some of them will appear to be mild, some will even try to play through it.
Well, concussions are dangerous because we know that athletes are at risk after an initial concussion, so it's really imperative that they're fully healed before returning to sport. Concussions are usually like a silent injury. Sometimes you may not know as a medical staff that someone has sustained a concussion.
We're concerned that if they did not report some of these first and second concussions, by the time you see them, this might actually be their third. And once again, the damage to the brain might be more severe than if we had caught it the first time.
You know, it's really hard to manage at the high school level when the parents want them to play, games are on the line, they want to be tough.
I think some of the more difficult aspects are, you definitely get the pressure from the coaches as far as, oh, he's just got a headache, give him some Tylenol and throw him back out there. I think the hardest thing is dealing with the athletes themselves, because you got two different kinds of athletes. One that say they're fine and they want to get back out there, yet they still have a headache, or they're still complaining of some dizziness, or sensitive to light. And then you get the other type of athlete who kind of drag it out a lot longer than they need to. They'll stay. They might have a little bit of headache, but it's hard because it's all subjective.
We're very concerned that if these go unreported and undiagnosed and untreated, that the athlete may be setting themselves up for more severe problems, especially in the areas of learning, concentration, memory later on in life.
Immediate after the concussion, recognizing the concussion, educating the athlete or surrounding people are important not to repeat the concussion. And our level, of course, we like to avoid, but younger the athletes you work with, the effect is more dangerous and bigger effect. Some of the high school first-time concussion athletes, if they return to play too soon, we see these cases. The athletes have to be homeschooled because they have a hard time concentrating in the classroom, and definitely has severe effect on their future.
How does the management of a concussion require a team effort?
We work very closely with one of the local hospitals and one of the local clinics where they do the impact testing, but also they have a lot of neurologists and neurosurgeons that will also evaluate our athletes. And it's a great communications network so that the athlete, the medical staff at the college, and the athlete's family, they're all on the same page.
Everybody on the medical staff, the coaching staff, the parents, and the athletes have to be on the same page.
If you have a parent involvement, I'll pull parents out of the stands and say, is this the way your child behaves? Does he look okay to you? You let me know. And the more people you can bring in, I think the better the athlete, the safer the athlete will be.
Let's do a quick recap. We know that there is a greater health risk involved with younger athletes receiving a concussion when compared to adults. On average, there are higher concussion rates at the high school level than any other level, adding up to a total of 43,000 to 67,000 annually. However, the true incidence is likely much higher because 53% of concussed high school athletes are suspected of not reporting their injuries to medical personnel. Given this information, it is fair to assume that there is a greater need for medical supervision at the high school level. However, it is estimated that only 42% of high schools have a certified athletic trainer on staff. In the United States, only a handful of states require high schools to hire an athletic trainer. This means that on any given day, there are thousands of high school football players participating in football practices and games without qualified medical personnel on site.
You have to have qualified healthcare personnel informing and educating parents, teachers, coaches, athletes, the potential risk for dangers. We have all of them sign a form saying they assume all the risk. and that's pretty generic. You know, we need to really detail out what is the risk. We can't take violence out of football and out of some of these contact sports, but if we can give them the knowledge of what they can do to prevent it and what to do in the event that they start feeling this way, I think that we can start saving lives. And if you don't have somebody like a certified athletic trainer there assessing the situation, you have a bunch of people guessing what should be done. And in times like that, you don't have time for guessing. And so I think that, you know, I'm an advocate for all high schools to have an athletic trainer.
It is important to keep in mind that prevention and management of concussions requires a team effort, in which input from players, coaches, parents, as well as medical personnel is essential. Athletes should not engage in potentially dangerous athletic activity without proper medical supervision. Remember, sports safety is a team effort, and the athletic trainer is a valuable member of that team.